Hello and welcome everyone to another podcast with Supplier T News. Um, I'm your host Jamie White, and I have with me my podcast partner Ray Hayes. So Ray, thanks for joining us.
What's going on, Jamie? It's been a long time.
Yeah, a really long time. We really need to get back in the swing of things and get back into the podcast posting for sure.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
hopefully this is one of a continuation. I know I've been busy. I know you've been busy as well. Uh, our focus has kind of been on the articles for Supplier News, but getting back with the podcast again. Hopefully, this is one of many. One of many. So
Definitely. But before you continue, I did want uh to put some publicity out there in regards to the podcast I recently posted, which is titled "The Diversity Report, Episode 2." So if you all have time, go check that out. It's on the website. But if you're in need of want to hear us talking, even though it's not me and Jamie, it's just me. Hey, I have something out there, so to hold you over in the meantime until
yeah,
we release more. Check that out.
that's actually a good point. What we could do is for the weekly newsletter, we could just put up the diversity report like kind of on the side. I've actually figured out now through Mailchimp how to post it where people can just listen to it within the email. So I should
Okay,
probably do it.
okay,
Yeah, so
cool.
definitely remind me. Like, just shoot me something like on Friday,
All right,
or
yeah,
just
definitely will.
yeah, shoot me an email, and then I'll definitely post that because I think that'll definitely be a very good and interesting look because yeah, your content, the things that you talk about and whatnot are definitely always interesting. So for sure,
Yeah.
definitely give it a listen. But one more time, we're back, and on today's podcast, what we are here to bring you in terms of the topic is something that surprisingly isn't really getting a lot of attention
All right.
for some reason. There's been an art. I've literally seen one article on CNN, one article on Fox News. I'm pretty sure you can guess how the comments have gone on this. But basically, the topic is concerning Donald Trump's recent comments on kneeling protesters, specifically within the NFL. And the comment that he essentially made is that he is willing to meet with the protesters who have been kneeling through NFL through the anthem, NFL players specifically, and discuss who deserves a pardon,
All right.
um, who they think deserves a pardon, so that Donald Trump or President Trump can use his presidential pardoning powers, excuse me, to pardon those individuals. So we're here to just kind of talk about it, give our thoughts on it, and you can also give your thoughts on it as well in the comments below, which we always love to hear from you guys. But
Yeah.
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to Ray. You can kind of give your thoughts, and then we'll have a quick discussion on it. Man,
Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks, Jamie. Uh, I was kind of shocked to hear it at first because from his previous comments about the players in the NFL that were kneeling, they kneel, but now it's okay. Let's try to form a solution, so to say. And okay, I'll listen to what you have to say, and you give me a list of people. Now, I take his comment as far as pardoning these individuals seriously because he just had Kim Kardashian West come into his office, speak about a grandmother who was serving, I believe it was a life sentence. She got her sentence commuted, and she was released. So it seems as though President Trump
yeah,
is
Jack Johnson's
interested
another one
in talk.
with Sylvester Stallone.
Jack Johnson, right, Jack Johnson. And I know he talked about Muhammad Ali, but his case was already pardoned or handled by the Supreme Court, so that
Overturned.
was here
It was
neither there,
overturned.
overturned by the Supreme Court. So that obviously that's not going to happen. But I mean, he's serious about these pardon these inmates and or commuting their sentences. I applaud him for doing that, and it seems as though he wants to connect with celebrities in particularly and go about hey, I'm going to listen to them. Let's see what they have to say. Let's do it. Now, when it comes to these NFL players, like I said, I do think he's serious about doing this. However, I'm concerned as though whether these NFL players will take him up on this offer.
All right, why are you concerned?
Because,
what
because
makes you concerned?
One, because I don't think he understands what they were kneeling for in the first place, and they know that.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. I think that's really the big issue about this whole thing is. So, like I said, I saw CNN write an article about this, and then I saw Fox News write an article about this. It was interesting. So, when you look at the CNN comments, everybody essentially says the same thing, which is this. While this offer is nice, this has absolutely nothing to do with what they were kneeling for, and this just proves that he has no clue what they were kneeling for. But then when you look at the Fox News comments,
that's the problem, though, Jamie.
Yeah, when you look at the Fox News comments,
cut you off.
When you look at the Fox News comments, like they're 100% in support of this. They're like, this is perfect. Trump's now reaching out to them, and he's giving them an avenue to connect on, which both are true, right? This could be an avenue to connect with President Trump to get reform done when it comes to prison, just the legal justice system. It could be an open forum, right? I highly doubt that, but it could be.
Right.
So with both parties kind of being right on this, the question now remains, since we know for a fact that Donald Trump's offer or President Trump's offer has nothing to do with the kneeling, right? We can agree on that. However, it is an opportunity, and I think that's really the question here: is this opportunity something that is worth the NFL players to take if they truly think that they can make something happen, or is this just another one of those things where if it doesn't result in Donald Trump, in President Trump standing next to a celebrity taking photos, will he do it? I guess that makes sense, right? Because we know for a fact that because of how Congress is set up, like nothing's getting passed, nothing controversial is getting passed,
right?
And justice reform is controversial. So does what were you about to say? Sorry.
No, it's also it's a matter of is he going to take the list of people that these NFL players give? Is he going to take these inmates serious, or these? I'm not going to say inmates, but is he going to take these people who are in prison serious? Should I really commute this person's sentence?
I think he would, depending on who gave it to him. Like it
depends on if they criticized Trump in the past, would he commute that sentence?
Yeah, man.
If they said something negative about him in the past, will he forgive that sentence?
I get what you're saying. If it's something, probably not. Then we know the answer to that. The answer is no. Even if they were unjustly incarcerated, if they said I don't like Trump in a Twitter post in 2011, no, they're not. That person's not going to get pardoned.
Right. And instead of just I'm going to sit down with these players, why not actually have a talk with Colin Kaepernick and get a better understanding of what's going on? Now I know that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
that's most likely not going to happen because, like you just touched on, he's not that much concerned about the problem that what they were kneeling for. He's more concerned about I can have these celebrities on my side, and then it's a publicity stunt for me as well. It makes me look good. It's a win-win for me. Even if I don't, if I don't go about commuting a person or taking the list of people that these NFL players give me serious, I still offer them the opportunity to come to me and give me a list of people. So it's kind of like it's in the NFL players' ballpark. That are you going to play or what?
Yep.
Are you going to take this serious or what? And if you don't, I don't look bad. You do.
Yep. Even though the offer, I mean, this is chess. Funny enough. This isn't a funny situation, but this is chess in that he's offering them something that doesn't solve the problem, that doesn't solve the overlying issue, isn't something that they want.
Right.
But it is an open door that if you are serious about the other things that you want, you should take it. and that's essentially where we're at right now. If you were an NFL player, would you take it? Protesting, would you take it?
I would take it, and I would cherish the fact. I mean, not cherish, but I would be more interested in talking to President Trump and trying to educate him about what we were kneeling for, and get his mindset, and get his understanding of you think patriotic and what you kneeling face to face. What's your problem with me kneeling? And just explaining to them, this is what I was doing it for.
I don't think.
And trying to get him to pass it.
Kneeling, honestly, I don't think it's the kneeling, because I thought about this, right, and this is.
And what do you think it is, man?
So I thought about the kneeling thing. So for example, what happens if I know for a fact it's not the kneeling, because let's say J.J. Watt, right? Everybody loves J.J. Watt,
right?
If J.J. Watt came to the NFL commissioner and said, "I want to, for NFL wide, league wide, I think all players should kneel for the national anthem on week 9 and week 11, so that we can remember the people who died during 9/11 as a league and as a nation. So every year from now on, from week 9 and week 11, NFL players will kneel during the anthem." I am 1,000% sure every conservative would back that in a heartbeat. Right. As well as President Trump, right? So that proves right there it's not the kneeling, right? It has nothing to do with the kneeling, and it has everything to do with what they're kneeling for.
I gotta take you up on something. Granted, yes, it has to deal with their kneeling for, but it also has to deal with their kneeling because it's the individual who kneeled in the first place and who started the movement.
Right, but my point is, so look at the Eagles, right? How people were criticizing, I think it was Malcolm Jenkins, because he held his fist in the air.
Yes.
Because he held his fist in the air during the national anthem. That's not kneeling. Right? That's not kneeling at all. It has nothing to do with the kneeling. Right? If all the black players decided not to kneel and decided to hold their fist in the air, Donald Trump was criticizing the black players or players who are considering not coming out for the anthem now. Right? He's already started criticizing people. It hasn't even started yet. But he's already criticized people who are thinking about not coming out for the national anthem as being unpatriotic. This has nothing to do with kneeling. It has nothing to do with fist. It has everything to do with what they're protesting for. Like, we've seen too many times where.
But that's the thing they're protesting for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so when you see people like, I don't like the kneeling, because this is a common talking point, which is kneeling is disrespectful to the flag. No, it's not. Right. It has nothing to do with the kneeling. It has everything to do with what they're protesting for. Because if kneeling was disrespecting the flag, then if people decided to kneel for week 9 and week 11 to show respect for people who died during 9/11, then you'd have a problem with that because they're kneeling. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but
has nothing to do with the kneeling.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the kneeling. It's all about the protest. Disagree, though. You say why? Why do you disagree?
Because if those guys say, give your example for first one, right? J.J. Watt says let's kneel during week 9.
Yep.
In this atmosphere of the NFL, right?
Right.
So this is prior to the kneeling.
This would be prior to the kneeling.
Even prior to, I think people would have a problem with it because, first off, they're still going to say, why aren't you just putting your hand over your chest and honoring those fallen individuals?
Because you want to raise awareness and respect those who died during 9/11. That's exactly why you're doing it, as a league.
But you can do that with a moment of silence or prayer. There's no point to kneel because in their eyes, it's still disgracing the flag because they're not standing. The flag, they ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't ask you to kneel. So why take that stance during the time where you're honoring people who have passed from 9/11? You're still, quote unquote, disgracing the flag, dishonoring the flag, because you're not doing as what's being told or what's in the norm. The norm is to stand. I don't care what you're doing it for. The norm is to stand. Now, if you want to bow your head, fine. You want to say a prayer, fine. But it's still, I think, in their eyes would be you're kneeling.
Let's agree to disagree then. I understand where you're coming from.
But
We'd have to agree to disagree.
okay,
I just don't agree with that. I think that if you had something that everyone can get around, whether and every most people, let's say most Americans can support, and this has nothing to do with race. I think you can get people to do
yeah,
whatever. I can think you can get them to bow their heads. I think you can convince them to do a moment of silence. I think you can convince them to kneel for the anthem. As
I agree. I agree with that.
yeah. So I don't, but I understand where you're coming from. In terms of why are we kneeling? Why don't we just bow our heads or have a moment of silence instead of that? So I understand. We just don't agree. Because whenever something is just based off of race, it automatically, like it just automatically, for some reason, causes a lot of issues. And
Right.
Even if one side is saying something that should be a positive, right? One of the things that people, man, it's going way longer than I thought. We're 16 minutes in. One of the things that, like, I do want to get this in since I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, one of the things, like, for the civil rights movement, right? Like how everybody
Mm-hmm.
thinks how it went on, fine and dandy, and everybody was in support of it. The thing about it is, it was based off of race as well. But in the early '60s, majority of white Americans did not support civil rights, right?
All right.
This
Okay.
is after John F. Kennedy got elected. This is right after he got elected. Most Americans did not support civil rights. It wasn't until the news report came out where you saw black people getting attacked by dogs and like water hoses. That's what eventually flipped
Mm-hmm.
the majority of Americans. But when John F. Kennedy first got elected, most Americans did not support civil rights. But that just goes to show you just this whole the race issue, right? When it's always been at a point where, to the point where if you even say black people deserve basic rights, right? Basic rights,
Right. Hold
people
on.
can't agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
people can't even agree on that. So to think like, in the situation that we're in now, then of course it's gonna be how it is. But I do think that if it wasn't about race and it was about something else, then everybody would be kneeling. It would be 100% fine. But that's just kind of to show an example of just how toxic the conversation of race has always been. But back to our original point, which is Donald Trump saying he's willing to pardon people who are locked up if the people who are kneeling are willing to meet with him and kind of give him names for that. Again, definitely could be an opportunity to do something. Is this about President Trump's ego and meeting with celebrities? Maybe, but at the end of the day, it's an opportunity to
Yeah.
get what you want. If you're
It's a big opportunity at that. I mean, it's an opportunity to get possibly family and loved ones released.
yeah
I mean, those in particular those NFL players. But it's an opportunity to give people in jail for minor crimes released.
yeah
So it's a great opportunity. However, we still have to go about talking about the issues of police brutality and what can we do about that.
well
President Trump has to admit that is a problem. I mean, I understand that he may not say those words out in the public, but there. I mean, at the end of the day, there still needs to be some discussion about that. But to continue on, like you said, though, Jamie, this is a huge accomplishment. I mean, this could be a huge accomplishment and a great opportunity for the NFL to shine the limelight on the NFL and its players, but also President Trump as well. It can give him some great publicity as well. And when it comes to the voting side, amongst minority voters, it may be a great chance to bring in more minority voters as well.
yeah. I mean, we're not gonna. For those wondering about, what are our comments on what if President Obama offered this, we're not going to get off into that because this would not have been possible under President Obama, period. But we just talked about how toxic race is. Imagine, Jesus. But anyway, but I'm 100% with you. I mean, this makes sense. Elections are coming up, and offering this and cynical part of us, elections are coming up and offering this makes a lot of sense. I do think from what I've heard, if you get President Trump in a room, you have a conversation with him, he can be influenced by that. So that may be something there. But it is tough when you're talking about him because he'll make that offer and then the next day he'll disinvite any NBA champion from coming to the to the White House. So you just don't know with him. But if this particular offer lasts and stays open, then this is definitely an opportunity. So, with that being said, thanks everybody for listening. Hopefully, we didn't say anything too controversial. But yeah, definitely let us know your thoughts. These are just our quick 24-hour kind of thoughts. Educate us if you think that we've said something that may be incorrect or anything like that. And we're always willing to have a conversation. So with that being said, once again, thank you for your time and have a great day.
Have a good one, everybody. Thanks.